Okay, this is a really random event. Because the full moon is approaching, I just decided to go live on my channel. Um, as the title may have also shown you, there have been some really important changes that I've been going through. And instead of actually creating an edited clip in which I try to explain to you guys what I've been going through behind the scenes and why I have been so inconsistent with tarot and oracle and pick a card readings lately, I thought of just going live. So it's a bit of an early full moon in Scorpio live because the full moon is actually taking place 24 hours to 48 hours from this moment on, depending where you are in the world. Thank you, Anas. Thank you kindly. Your words are so kind and so well received and so beautiful, and they're very healing to me at this point in time. One of the other reasons why I wanted to go live today is because I don't know how to deal with this. I've never lost a parent, and I find myself not wanting to be alone in this. And you guys are so much of my soul family. Like, I don't see you just as viewers, but I see you as people that have allowed me to be myself through the fact that you enjoyed my tarot and astrology skills. And on the spiritual social, I truly feel like I can be myself. Like, I'm not just this weird girl that's trying to fit into society. I feel like I am myself, you know. And thank you kindly for having given me this feeling in the last 4, almost 5 years, I would say. Um, there are some really big things happening at the moment, and they're all happening one after the other. It's like boom, 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 boom. So I'm doing my best as I can to cope. I feel very alone, but I think I need to be alone as I'm coping. I think there's a spiritual reason behind why I feel so alone. And paradoxically, I think it's to help me understand that I need people in my life, that I can't be so little Miss Independent, fighter all the time, you know? Um, so, just very briefly to give you the facts, thank you kindly to the 11 people who are right now live. I will have a look at your comments in a second. I just wanted to let you know that on the 1st of May, I moved houses. So I sold my old apartment because I could not live there anymore. It was dark and violent, and just I couldn't relax, I couldn't work, I couldn't sleep. I prematurely aged in that place. I was so stressed all the time. And I guess you guys could tell that I was a little bit angry and heavy in that protective masculine energy. So I made the move and I chose a bigger place, and now I'm renting. I'm no longer owning a home. I'm no longer a homeowner, but it feels better. It feels so full of light, and I just feel like it was meant to be that I basically sold my apartment in February, but I had to wait for the retrogrades to finish, because you guys know that this year's we had a Mercury retrograde and a Venus retrograde, and I stayed in that place until May, and on the 1st of May, exactly on the 1st of May, I moved home. Like the crew and the shipment came through, and then I had a couple of days to adjust to this new place. And one day I woke up and I was feeling very afraid and very pulled towards going to the cemetery. The place where I am right now is very close to where my parents used to live, and it's very close to the cemetery in which my grandfather is buried. This place is a place that reminds me a lot of my childhood, because I grew up in this neighborhood in District 3 in Bucharest. And that's part of the reason why I chose this place as well. It felt like home. It felt safe, you know. And I just woke up one day and, like, as I was trying to adjust living here, I woke up one day and I felt the need to go and visit grandpa at the cemetery. And I was missing my mom and my dad and my sister, to whom I grew increasingly estranged. And I went to my grandpa, and I don't know, I just felt the need. I put a coin on his mortuary stone, and I touched his photo because he has a photo engraved on the headstone. And I have to say, he's really good looking. He's one of the most good looking people there. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to bring some levity into this situation because I don't know what else to do. But coming back to the story, I put a coin on his funerary stone and I asked him to kindly help our family, because we've been struggling. And he did. He did. I went to bed that night, and a couple of minutes after I went to bed, my mom told me that my dad died. I woke up at 4:44 in the morning. Yeah, 4:44, to go to the toilet, and I saw a missed call from my mom and the message that I'm calling you because dad is dead. And I was feeling like so many things at the same time, like a lot of sadness, but a lot of relief as well. Like, because my dad did not die fast. It was not easy. He suffered for a year and a half, and a year and a half that mostly my mom and my sister took really good care of him. I wasn't really allowed to help them as much as I wanted to. I wanted to help, but I wasn't allowed. And my mom really was strongly like defending that. It's like she wanted to do everything for him. And that's why we had an argument and we kind of pushed each other because of the fact that I wanted to help and she wouldn't allow me to help. But I realize now that she was kind of protecting me and my sister as much as she could from how my dad was slowly decaying. My dad had bone cancer, and it started eating up his skeleton basically, and then he developed tumors on his brain. It was basically just like his body was consuming him from the inside. And we just watched it happen for a year and a half. And he went from being this very tall, handsome, intelligent, kind of burly, heavyweight man to almost like a ghost. Like a ghost. And he died on the 8th of May, and today he was scheduled for the crematorium. Thank you kindly. Thank you so much, guys, for the comments. I sincerely appreciate them. I sincerely appreciate them. And I'm not here to trauma dump on you. I just wanted to hang out with you. I made myself a cup of coffee and one of the gifts that you guys have sent my way, which is brew. And coffee is really important because coffee reminds me of dad. One of my, like, the cutest memories I have, and one of the things that makes me feel safe. Like, whenever something bad happens, I make myself a cup of coffee. Whenever I'm going through change or tumult or stress, maybe it's not such a good idea to ingest so much caffeine when I'm stressed already, but for some reason, coffee for me always is associated with waking up in the morning with my family and my mom hurriedly like dressing me up and my sister so we would get ready for kindergarten and then primary school, and we were all huddled up in our little communist Romanian flat. We had a very small flat, and we had a small kitchen, and we would always bump into each other, but in the mornings my mom and dad would make coffee, and dad would always put a lot of sugar in his coffee. That was one habit that led to his poor health later on, but He put sugar in his coffee. Mom wouldn't take so much sugar in her coffee. And when I was a kid, they wouldn't allow me to drink coffee, obviously. But I would always kind of like beg my dad in the morning to just give me a sip of his coffee because I knew it was sweet. So I was like, please, please, can I have? And it was such a good taste, like bittersweet, you know? And dad would allow me from time to time when mom wasn't watching, and that was like the highlight of my day. So making a cup of coffee reminds me of him, it reminds me of that moment, and I think bittersweet is exactly the way in which I would describe my relationship to him, because it was a complicated relationship. It wasn't straightforward. I wasn't like, I tried to be close to him, but it was difficult because he wouldn't allow people to be emotionally close to him. He had had himself a very difficult life, and part of the reason why I'm kind of relieved at the moment is also because he stopped suffering, and my mom and my sister have been relieved from the burden of care. And now he's together with his other family, grandpa and grandma, and his twin sisters that he never got a chance to meet because they died at birth. And like, his family was separated very early on. My dad lost his father when he was very young, and he grew up mostly raised by my grandmother, and they were poor and they were struggling. There's a funny story in my family where my grandma wanted a bigger place because they were living in such a small apartment that they didn't even have a shower space. And my grandma wanted a bigger apartment, and she actually wrote a letter to Elena Ceausescu, the wife of the dictator Nicolae Ceausescu, which I'm sure that a lot of you guys have heard of in connection to Romania. And she kindly asked, as a single mother who was working in the service of communist Romania, to receive a bigger apartment for her and her son. And she got it. Elena Ceausescu approved. And she moved into the building in which me and my sister would be born, and we would live for most of our lives. So, I don't know, just sharing a little bit of a family anecdote. I don't know if there isn't any appropriate way to feel at the moment. But I'm realizing my hand got stuck holding the cup of coffee. So I'm just gonna put it down. I will pull some cards today, so it's not going to be just me sharing with you things from my family life. I do need you to keep in mind that what's going on at the moment is going on in a bigger context. Romania is going through a really significant change. Dad died on the cusp of a really scary change. At the moment, Romania is voting for the next president, and there is a big, scary, looming, far-right Russian occupation threat, because the candidate with the most votes, George Simeon, is assumed to have some ties with Russian infiltrators, the one that sabotaged the first round of elections. I don't know if that's true. I mean, this is just what I'm reading from the media, but I do know that I would choose a candidate that is pro-West and pro-European Union, and at the moment we have this independent candidate called Nicu Șordan. So it's like Romania is very split at the moment. There are a lot of people who are expressing their anger through their votes, but it's an anger that could lead us to self-destruction. It could lead us to allow invading forces to just walk into our country and just take it like that, just not even fight or engage into some sort of battle like Ukraine is doing at the moment for its independence. We're just kindly letting them in, you know, through our democratic votes. Or we continue to stay in the European Union, but we have to make some important, massive changes in terms of number of public administrators, digitalizing Romania, really trying to do something for education, and the sheer poverty that exists in the country. So it's kind of scary because if we have a far-right president, I don't know if I'll be able to live here. Um, but then my mother and my sister will be here. So yeah, it's a decision I feel I'm going to have to make once the facts are in. For the time being, I kind of parked presidential elections away from my mind. I did go yesterday to protest. Yesterday, it was Europe Day, and there were celebrations here. A lot of people that are in support of the pro-Western, pro-European candidate. We took to the streets and we rallied, and I, I, I walked with them as well. Yeah, and it's a strange feeling, like one day after your dad died, to go and protest on the street against your country being taken over, and nationalism, and yeah, it's strange. It's strange. It feels like I'm in a dream. Can Romania try to get into NATO? Romania is in NATO. That's the problem. We are in everything at the moment. We are in the Schengen zone, we are in NATO. We struggled so much. I remember when we got accepted into the European Union in 2007, it was such a boom for the economy. It's like we came out of the dark ages. And it was easier to travel, and that's how I was able to travel and meet my ex-husband, who was German. We met in Austria because of a program that was partly funded by European money. So without Europe, I wouldn't have had a marriage, like a love life. Sorry guys, it's so weird. It's so weird how our emotions are wired inside of us, because I don't know, I felt so numb during the religious ceremony at the crematorium. I didn't feel like I could cry. I felt like I cried a lot beforehand. Like I had a lot of tears just randomly bursting out of me throughout this entire year and a half. Like I cried so many times randomly in supermarkets and on the street, and I got angry with people at work, but my anger was coming not because of them, but it was coming from this deep pain I was carrying. Yeah, it's just weird. It's just very weird, and at the same time it's also magical, because I'm noticing a lot of things. Like there have been so many magical symbols, and also the fact that my grandfather helped our family from beyond the grave in the day in which I went to pray to his grave to ask him to help us. It's almost like he was waiting. It's like he was waiting for me to go there. He was waiting for somebody to say, release your son from the pain. And somehow I felt called to do it, because I'm the weird one. I'm the crazy one in the family that believes in these things. So on some level, a lot of the pain and the suffering and all of these challenges are kind of like weirdly, bizarrely reconfirming my belief in the occult, my belief in ancestors, my belief in the fact that the world in which we're living and the world beyond the veil are very, like, they're very close. We live among the spirits of the dead, and the dead live among us. You just transform into something else. You just become no longer embodied, but you're still here in some way, shape, or form. So yeah, I have this image in the background of my dad. It's a very old-fashioned image. I really love it. When you begin school in Romania, it was a habit that used to happen from communist times. When you begin school, they take a photo of you in one of these horribly uncomfortable wooden benches. And this is Dad in his first day at school, in his official pioneer photo. Back in communist times, they used to call kids pioneers, you know, when they would begin school. And they had uniforms and they had specific colors. You know, the little ones were, if I'm not mistaken, orange, like they were the hawks of society. And then if you were like a first grader, you were like a pioneer. And that's my dad. And yeah, I don't know, I really treasure these photos. You know, I have one, my mom has one, my sister has one. We've all been through this standard first grade in school photo. And it's fascinating because I felt like I've been living with this shadow of my father for so many years now. The Pluto and Capricorn transit for me was about the father. And it happened in the third house, the house of my environment, my mind, my communications. And maybe some of you know this if you've been on my website, especially if you book a reading with me, or if you follow me on Instagram. I wrote a book about that, right? So this is basically the publication of my PhD, and it was about my relationship to him from one point of view. Basically, my relationship to my father inspired me to look into the theme of fathers and love. And if you open the book, you see that I dedicated it to my family. And on the first page, chapter 1, it shows a photo of my dad and me and my mom. And my dad was holding me up like that from behind, lifting me. He was very strong, especially when he was younger. And this is my sister, and she looks like a loaf of bread because it was her baptism. She, like in Romania, you know, because we're Christian Orthodox, we baptize children. And I really love this photo because it was July or June or July. My sister was born in May, and she got baptized that summer, and it was sunny. We were together. We looked happy. And yeah, it was capitalism, you know, we were adapting to democracy. My mom and dad had different clothes. They have different haircuts. There was more color coming in, from color television to color in the people on the streets, you know. It was such a beautiful progression because, you know, I was born in 1987, and it was right at the precipice of the most intense years of communism, the worst years of communism, when there was so much lack and poverty and desperation, and, you know, people have had it up to here. And then it was the revolution. My sister was born after the revolution. She was one of the first babies, you know, born. And then, like, we had a period in which everything was crazy. It was dark, it was inflation, it was chaos, it was mayhem. And then we entered the European Union, and things started going on an uphill slide. At least this is how it felt, you know, at an individual level. I don't know politically, economically. A lot of people can disagree with me and fight me over this. But I'm not here to fight with anybody. I'm just here to tell you my subjective experience during this time when I feel like my dad died during a really important social, economic, and political change in Romania. And he lived through really important social and economical changes. You know, his life was not very much like he was born in the same regime, he died in the same regime. No, it was filled with changes. And of course, as a sociologist, I'm fascinated by that. So yeah, let me know in the comments, guys. Please share with me your own father stories. You know, I'm always curious to read about families and personal accounts of family relations, and it's a subject that will continue to fascinate me. And only is increasing, because at the moment, with Pluto transiting my fourth house, the house of roots and the home and the nation, this is even more intense. Thank you kindly, NTM Station, Fancy Dress, Moses Blunt. Thank you kindly for your comments. I really appreciate the fact that you guys are here. And yeah, this full moon that we are approaching, Anshuma Love Gurung, 10th of May, I lost my husband. I'm so sorry for your loss. So today when you're joining the stream, you're commemorating his death, right? Thank you, Piano, stay strong. Yes, the problem with me is I think I have been too strong, if that makes any sense. Um, I'm feeling very raw at the moment and very vulnerable. Um, Mostly because I also used to hide behind makeup and other things, in the past, and now I just really don't care. And at the moment, I just don't care for frivolity or glam. I still like it, but I don't have the energy to cover up. I hope that in the coming period, as we adapt, and when I say we, I mean my mom and my sister and me, as we adapt to this new reality, I hope that we can start to feel a little bit lighter. Jupiter in Cancer is coming, and Jupiter in Cancer, the way I see it, because Jupiter is elevated, it's a return to safety. It's a return to a feeling of safety. Whatever safety means to you, for all of us, it's gonna be like we're gonna find our happy place again. And yeah, what I wanted to say with this full moon in Scorpio, this is a particularly tough full moon because it's almost like making this T-square aspect with Mars in Leo, Pluto in Aquarius, and Uranus and the Sun in Taurus. And when I looked at the chart of like First World War, Second World War, they usually had begun around the time when there was either a big T-square in the sky, or there was some sort of Pluto, Uranus square. The signs Taurus and Leo are strongly influenced because they're incredibly stubborn and incredibly strong signs. So when they are squaring each other in the skies, we have conflicts, we have disagreements, we have all sorts of drama here on Earth. And of course, Taurus rules over money and Leo rules over individualism and over pride. So pride comes before the fall, right? War or conflagrations or all sorts of issues. We cannot see eye to eye. The square is this aspect of tension. It's like we can't find a compromise. Our energies do not blend. But the good part about this full moon is that it brings up all the mess to the surface. It brings up everything that was left to deal with, all the drama or the conflict. And then as soon as Mars moves into Virgo, there will be a cleanup. The energies are going to settle a little bit. It's just very difficult at the moment in the next 2 weeks because we still have Saturn and Pisces. And I wanted to say a couple of things about astrology and Saturn because my God, it's as I was saying, I'm going through these really tough things to deal with and to live with, but at the same time I am shocked at how much spirituality is real and astrology is perfect, and all of these things that I believed in are being confirmed and reconfirmed, and it just feels beautiful on some level and it feels horrible on the other level. But I think this is the energy of Jupiter in Gemini, right? It's a hot one and a cold one. Duality. It's like you get the most amazing thing in your life and the worst thing in your life at the same time, right? So it's just something that we have to go through, yeah, because Saturn and Pisces is also dualistic. It's about deep, heavy feelings that we don't know how to process because Saturn freezes us from processing them. So we tend to project them on other people. We take our anger and sadness out on other people instead of feeling it, because feeling it is very difficult and it's heavy and it's makes you feel sick. Yeah. So as soon as Jupiter moves into Cancer and Saturn moves into Aries, there will be collectively a generous shift. Now Jupiter in Cancer is not going to be in the best aspect to Pluto, but it won't be in the worst aspect to Uranus, at least. It will be in a relatively alien-like aspect to Uranus in Gemini, but Uranus in Gemini is going to help Saturn in Aries, which is going to help Neptune in Aries, which is going to help Pluto in Aquarius. So it's not going to be this horrible. We're going to have a lot of air and fire in the sky. No longer this mixed match of energies that are just butting heads with each other. So I'm hopeful. Thank you, Little Miss Memers, JG. Thank you, Lunar. Thank you so kindly. I felt the need to do this live here because not all of you have an Instagram. I have been updating some things there on Instagram because it's quicker. I can update there quicker than in other places. And I have been so gobsmacked by the support that I got. It really means a lot, you guys. Your words are so powerful. You have no idea how you're helping me cope with a lot of things. Because I find myself in a period in which I just kind of feel a bit isolated. Because even the friends that I have physically in my life, they are not close to me. You know, one of them is in France, 2 of them are in Scotland, 3 of them are in London, a couple of them are in America, you know. So even if I were to feel the need to talk to them or spend time with them, I couldn't physically do them. I have to be online. I have to be plugged in to find some sort of support and community at this point in time. So maybe we shouldn't judge people that find community online, you know? And a lot of people talk about these parasocial relationships and how bad they are, but nothing is completely good or bad, you know? There are some things that are just helpful. They help you cope. And life is hard enough, so why not find ways to cope? And maybe it's important to be less critical about people's ways of coping. I think that's really important. And when I'm saying this to myself because I also have this judgmental part of me that comes out, you know, this shadow that overtakes me. And I've been dealing with a lot of this lately. Saturn was in my sign and it was showing me how I made so many mistakes, how prideful I was, and how I kept pushing away people that could have been good for me, and how I thought I could do it all on my own. But it's not really like this, you know. It's been a very humbling process of understanding a lot of things, and I realized how much resentment I was holding in my heart and my body as well towards some of the people that just genuinely wanted to help me or just wanted to love me, but I couldn't trust them because of my own issues. Thank you, Little Miss Memers. Don't worry, your words are kind enough for me to feel like you're giving me a hug. I have been really struggling, as I said, to cry, but like doing yoga really helps to move the feelings, to move the blocked energy. So I've been doing with from the channel Devi Dali Yoga. She does these very slow yoga sequences where you can spend like 2 minutes in a pose, you know, holding just the pose. And I really love that because it just allows me to process feelings, because I've been, you know, when you can't cry and you're sad, you wake up in the morning and you have a stiff neck or you have like a lot of pain in your lower back. And that's just unprocessed grief. That's just feeling guilty or feeling ashamed. And if you can't cry it out, like the best thing you could do is just move your body around. I've been taking long walks. Like each day I've been walking around 10,000 steps. I have this app that shows me, you know, how many steps I've made in a day. And it's something so silly, but it's so important. I said the little things are so important sometimes, but this app tells me after I finished my goal, it tells me in the morning that it's time to get up and get moving, which is really kind because it's kind of like, you know, you can't sit still, you have to move forward, you know. No matter what you're going through, you just have to get up and get moving, you know. So that's really empowering. And then it also tells me at the end of the day, when I fulfilled the goal, you're getting better. You're getting better. And it's such a small thing, and it's from a preset AI, but it touches my heart. It's like, I'm okay. It's like a check-in, you know? It's like a small message that keeps me checked in with reality. You're getting better. It's okay. It's not worse. This will not destroy you. You're coping. And I know that this is what my father would have wanted for me and my sister and my mom, to just find a way to cope. He was quite optimistic in his own way. Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe him because in certain things he was very paranoid. Like he worked in IT and he had these humongous passwords. Like nobody could type in the password. I hope that he did not leave some important information on his computer that would require an 125 character password, because that's how he used to like create them. I would always like argue with him over this. It's like, oh, I'm locking myself out of my own computer because of you, you know. But on the same coin, you know, he had a Leo ascendant. He was a sun in Libra. He had a moon in Capricorn and a Leo ascendant. And he had Mars in Leo on the ascendant. So he was quite belligerent sometimes, but he could also be like the life of the party. He would speak and speak and talk, and especially if he had some libations, you know, he would just talk and talk and talk. I think that the worst part right now, it's gonna be the good memories. Because, you know, like arguments and fights and all those moments when he pissed me off, or those things are just so negligible, like in the grand scheme of things when you look back at a person's life. But the good memories, like those moments like I mentioned earlier with the coffee, you know, these are moments that break me down. These are moments that really can break me down. Like when I remember like how he used to, when I was little, I really loved to be carried on his shoulders. And we used to call that horsey, like kalutsu. Like he would take me up on his shoulders. And because he was so tall, it's like, yeah, I'm the queen of the world. I can see so far, you know? So yeah, I always wanted like to climb on top of him like a tree and to play horsey. And yeah, I can also say I never felt completely protected or provided by him. You know, I would hear other girls saying that, oh, my dad got me a car and an apartment, and you know, he's pulling all these big moves, and my dad is an entrepreneur, and you know, I can't say I had that. My dad was helping me with gadgets, you know, like if my laptop was breaking down, he would buy me a new laptop. And I was always grateful for that, you know. But I was always kind of like, when I was talking to other people, it always felt, or they made me feel like it was not enough, like he should have done more for you. And it was the same with my husband, like, yeah, I don't want to get too much into it, but yeah, my husband gave me like a small ring a couple of years after we got married, and it had like the tiniest diamond. And for him, for us, because we were struggling students, it was a big achievement. And I was so grateful to have that ring. But then, like, there was this French lady that came couch surfing in our flat when we were doing that. And she saw the diamond and she was like, "Oh, is that the extent of his love for you?" I don't know why I'm remembering this, but people can be so cruel sometimes. And even though in your mind you're quite grateful for the things you had, I guess, yeah, those were these moments that were planting certain seeds of discord, in which all of a sudden you start to feel like, hey, why am I not asking for more? Why are the men in my life that love me not giving me more? I should ask for more. I should be more, right? So I don't know what to say. Uh, I feel grateful that I had a father. I feel grateful that he wasn't an extremely abusive father. But I need to say that my relationship to him was not at all perfect. And even though I love him, it was not an easy love. He was not an easy man to love. And to a large extent, he didn't really see me or understand me. And I carried this pattern in my relationship to the men I attracted, that was always so resentful. But I hope that this end with my father will bring a new beginning in terms of the types of men I attract and the kind of family I want to build. Because I may not want a traditional family. I don't think I will always fall for this, getting married, having children, picket fence. That's not the life for me. I've always wanted to have a creative life. I wanted to have a partner, to have like a soulmate, like partner in crime. Just somebody I can rely on and somebody that can rely on me. Um, and I guess have a family of fur babies, adopt animals. That's what I love to do. I love to rescue animals. I love to feed them, take care of them. That's what I want to do. And I hope I'm going to be able to do it. And that society will allow me to do that and will not place restrictions on my capacity to own a home or have a business or walk on the streets without my head covered, as they do in certain countries, and as increasingly there is this threat that it will happen in Romania as well. So maybe it's just paranoia, maybe it's just, I don't know what to say. Yeah, Araceli, that's very true. Araceli and Ashley, thank you for joining as well. You've been like here with me for such a long period of time. And that's why I love you guys so much. You've been with me through such like difficult moments. We met during the pandemic, basically. And that was a really scary, really terrifying moment. But in some way, I feel like I was either I was emotionally detached from everything that was happening, like I was in a delusional state, but a really creative, fruitful, delusional state, or I was just incredibly strong. I've experienced so much, I've traveled so much up to that point in time that when the pandemic hit, I was just very stable, I was very comfortable, I was very safe. So I could create for everybody and I could give a lot to the collective. And I was in that giving role, giving. And since Saturn entered Pisces, it blocked my capacity to give. Literally, every time I would sit down to film a tarot reading, a neighbor would start bumping into the walls, or children would start crying loudly on the corridors, or my camera was not working. My cats were spilling something on the table. Uh, the phone was ringing. My dad dropped to the ground and he needed to be taken to the hospital with the ambulance. It was just trial upon trial upon trial, and every day it's like, oh, waking up and be like, no, I'm gonna do this. No, I love what I'm doing. And I still love what I'm doing. I'm still going to keep doing it, even though it has been so uncomfortable and so difficult, to the point where now I approach my divination table with a lot of fear. So I have to mentally like do some deep breathing to prepare myself, because generally I have developed this post-traumatic stress disorder, I think, related to reading tarot, because every time I sat down something bad would happen, and now it's kind of like, what's going to happen now? And I've been doing the cleansing, I've been praying each day throughout all of these changes. I've been doing my yoga. I even started going to the church more frequently. It was just, I had an older man that like he took me under his wing like a mentee, like he became my mentor at work in my last corporate job. He was this man who was like 70 years old. He was part of the Pluto and Leo generation, but he was so proud, and he had like such an interesting life story, and he would tell me stories about how he went to Sweden during communist times, and like interesting things about his life growing up in the regime and his life after the regime, and how he emigrated to Canada with his children. And he would always like tell me, when I would say to him like, God is testing me and I don't understand why, and why I'm not allowed to do what I love to do. And he looked at me and said, that's not God that's testing you. You know that, right? It has a different name. You're just afraid to put it into words. And it's true. It's true. Like in the spiritual community, we are so focused on the love and light, we forgot the very real existence of evil and the devil. And you guys know that in ancient times, Saturn was just a vowel away from Satan. And that's why we have the devil card in the tarot. Those were some very real energies. And in our struggle to try to make the world a bit more complex, we forgot about this good and evil kind of split, I think. Or at least I feel like I have forgotten it. And it was hard to understand that it wasn't really God that was testing me. There were other nefarious forces at play that I just had to learn how to cope with and withstand. And just be perseverant in my faith and perseverant in, even now I'm touching my angel medallion. So I'm looking forward, basically what I want to say is I'm looking forward to this astrological transit to finish. Astrological transits are real, energies are real. This has been an immensely powerful learning experience for me. Because when I had my Saturn return, my Saturn is in Sagittarius, and I had my Saturn return in 2017. Exactly as Saturn was approaching my 22 degrees Sagittarius Saturn in my chart, my mom called me to say that my grandma had died, and she had passed away 5 days away from my 30th birthday and 6 days away from my PhD Viva defense. So I had to stand in front of a commission and defend my thesis and basically decide my future. So again, it was during those really heavy Saturnian dark night of the soul, Saturn return energies. My grandma died. I celebrated my birthday, it was a big milestone, and then I had to defend my thesis. And thank God I had done a really good job in the last years because I didn't have to do much during that defense. They really loved my work because I had put so much effort and energy and basically all of my heart into it. So I didn't have to defend it so powerfully, and it helped. Past me was helping present me because it really helped me since I was already kind of numb due to the fact that I had lost my grandma. And my grandma on my mother's side was a really important figure for me. I have so many memories of her. And she was like this fierce Leo queen who always pushed me, and she taught me that there's no such thing as I can't do, it's just I won't do it. Like never tell yourself that you can't do it, you just don't want to do it. You know, and this always kind of fired me up, and she taught me how to have courage, how to pray, how to stand up for myself. I'm very grateful to my grandma. And now, as Saturn is almost perfectly conjunct my Piscean sun, a string of events is happening again. So I moved homes, my dad died, and well, protesting for the democratic future of my country. So astrology is very real, guys. Connecting with your ancestors is very real. This full moon in Scorpio, the sign of intensity and deep transformation, it's doing its thing. It's bringing up to the surface all the karmic bonds that need to be wrapped up. We are actually ending, or Saturn is actually ending its astrological transit in the next weeks. It is beginning a completely new cycle that will last 27 years, as it will begin to go again through the zodiac wheel, starting from Aries and ending with Pisces. So fresh karma, fresh energies, fresh, like literally it will feel like we are shifting into a different reality. And I have my hopes that it's going to be a better reality. It's a reality in which we may enter without a lot of the people that we used to have close to us, a lot of the people that used to be familiar to us. And that's really sad. But I'm grateful that, you know, I see death as a release. I see it as an escape. Like, you no longer have to be in this body to suffer, to pay taxes, to deal with rent. You no longer have to, like, try to control yourself from falling into addictions. You know, like, for my dad, it was a deep release because he was addicted. He was addicted, especially to nicotine. So the fact that he seems so peaceful today, and yeah, it's just, I just feel like he's gone to a better place. And I can still talk to him because thankfully I talk to the souls in that place on a regular basis, no matter how crazy people think I am. Yeah, so thank you kindly for listening to what I had to say. I'm gonna pull some cards now. I guess you can see my tomcat, Noah. He's been eating that fern from time to time because he has some stomach upsets. I'm really grateful for my fur family. They have been an immense comfort. Just to have something so sweet and small curling up on your body and starting to purr in your points of tension, like on your chest or on your belly. It's like free medicine. I don't even know how to explain it. Free massage, free medicine. They're like tuning you up in the places where it hurts, you know? Yeah, and you feel less alone. So I'm helping them physically by feeding them and by giving them a home, and they're helping me emotionally, you know, by sustaining me during this difficult time. So basically, get a pet. Get a pet because their emotional support and help is invaluable. Especially if you're struggling with anxiety, especially if you feel you're alone, especially if you're going through a lot. Just get a pet. Get a pet. No amount of money that you lose on that pet, because a lot of people say, oh my God, how am I gonna feed another mouth in this economy? It's gonna work out. If you do something from the heart, if you show kindness, from my experience, things work out somehow. They do, they always do, you know? I feel like things get taken away from you when you have a really tough transit to teach you something, or when you've been really cruel and mean. That's when they get taken away from you. They may not be taken away from you from the spot, but in time, when you least expect it. Yeah, divine justice works like this, you know. I really feel like my father was like a karmic teacher, very, very strong karmic teacher. I was thinking whether, I don't know if this would be of interest to you guys, but maybe it will help somebody out there to try to understand their family dynamics. On my third channel, The Spiritual Cosmos, I do astrological analysis, and I was thinking of maybe showing you guys how I interpreted my chart in combination with my mom and my dad and my sister's chart, because there are some very interesting past life karma points that I identified in my relationship to my parents. And I can also show you why there are differences in the way in which my mom and my dad treated me and my sister in a different way, or we perceive them as being very different. Maybe this will help you guys to do your own analysis. Yeah, it's just an idea. I just had a thought. I have many ideas. I just hope, I kindly hope and I kindly pray that in the next period I will be able to have the peace and quiet to just sit down and work. Because work to me keeps me healthy and sane. Work to me helps me emotionally regulate. I hate it when people say, oh, you're just running away from your issues with work. Well, some people need to work to make sense of what they're feeling. I have a moon in the second house. I am emotionally attached to my work, the independent work I create. And I have a Jupiter in the sixth house. Being of service, helping other people, is what makes me happy. So combining the two, Jupiter in the sixth house and Moon in the second, I feel happy when I work for other people, when I'm able to give something. But the work I have to do needs to be my own. It cannot be the work from a corporation or an institution, because my Jupiter is in Aries, the sign of creativity, and something just dropped. As I said, you know, like I'm talking about my work and something drops. Okay. Yeah, it was my hair dryer. And I think it dropped because I didn't put it there properly, and it was just a matter of time before it would have moved. I also take it that this is a cue for me to maybe put the focus on you guys and pull some cards for the collective. I'm not going to do mini readings in today's session because I don't feel I have the energy. I don't feel I have the energy to hold, because I've been holding so much today for myself and my family. But what I will do is I'll pull a card for the general collective so that you would know what energies are around us, what to expect. Yeah, maybe this will be healing, maybe this will be relaxing for some of you out there. This is my hope and my intention. I have here a piece of mahogany obsidian. I bought a bouquet of flowers for my dad, and I put a piece of snowflake obsidian in the bouquet, and it was placed on his chest, and I hope that he will be, or that he was cremated with it, because obsidian really helps the soul traverse into the afterlife. So I really hope that that in some way helped Dad. cross the river Styx, you know, as they say. Anaka, Ashley, thank you kindly for your comments. Yes, Lunar says that these differences in my family relationships have led me to astrology to find answers to my questions. Yes, that's exactly why I started looking into astrology when I was around 15 years old. I didn't understand why everybody had such an easy breezy time. People around me seemed to be on a different wavelength than me, and they struggled with things differently than I had. I feel like my struggles were very intense and scary, and instead of losing my mind, I found astrology, to put it bluntly, and it really helped. Just find whatever way of coping you can, guys, you know. Miriam, you are so kind. Miriam, you've been like the guardian angel to the spiritual social for such a long period of time, and I'm so grateful. I'm really like, I don't have words to say. All I can say is thank you. I'm grateful, and I love you, and I think I'm gonna say it, you know, ad nauseum. But it's just what I feel. It's just what I feel. So from the Medicine Woman Oracle, yeah, because I feel like we need some shamanic medicine, I pulled 2 cards. Healing Family Lines, number 30th. Free yourself from secrets. Discover the hidden treasure of your heritage. I mean, I swear to God, I did not pull them. You saw me shuffling, I was talking to you. They just dropped into my lap. And we have here the male principle. A step towards reconciling with the masculine is before you. It's fascinating, right? Because I definitely feel I have a big growth zone in my chart. I have a North Node in Aries, so I'm learning in this lifetime a lot about men, masculinity, aggression, how to deal with conflict without breaking relationships, how to be myself while also being part of a connection. And part of the journey of writing Fatherhood and Love has been about me reflecting on men and masculinity, the own masculinity that I have inside, but also the one of the men I interviewed and the men I loved and the men as fathers, right? Because not every man in society is a father, right? And increasingly less so. So definitely the cards I pulled seem to be very well synced with my current energy and my current concerns. So we have healing family lines and the male principle, healing the masculine, which is going to actually, it fits so well with Neptune in Aries and Saturn in Aries. You know, Chiron is still in Aries. So Neptune and Saturn joining with Chiron, these are a lot of these wounds of masculinity being projected onto the collective. And the hard work of creating a new ideal of masculinity. Because we know that the way the patriarchy has been behaving itself is not working. Society is on its deathbed in many places in the world. So how can we rescue the male principle? Because there is value in being male, much like there is value in being female. But we are being pitted against one another in this so-called gender war at the moment, which is just a consequence of society changing. And when society changes, so do the power differences in society. Yeah. So how can we, each in our very ways, create this new ideal of masculinity, this new ideal of what a savior is, what a fighter is, what a provider is, right? What a lover is. And when I say each of us, even us as women, we have to think about how we treat other men, what we expect from men, because we are also actively contributing to how men behave like men. Yeah, it's not just coming from them. They also want to please, they also want to fit into society. They're also looking for role models, you know, especially the young ones, especially the baby Pluto and Capricorns that are growing up at the moment. Yeah, they are going to be the new patriarchs. And I really love them. I have to tell you, the energy that these little kids have and the hardships that they had to grow up through, because most of them grew up in zones of conflict and displacement and economic downturns, and they have a much calmer, more studious, more humble energy than Gen Zers. And while Gen Zers are very exciting and innovative and creative, I think like Pluto and Capricorns, they're just very sweet. They're just very sweet and eager to learn and eager to fit in. And I hope that I'll be a wise old crone when they will be fully grown, and that I'll be able to give them some wise advice or help them. Yeah, we'll see if I survive until Pluto and Pisces, but hopefully. It's good to keep hopes up. So I guess on some level, it's not just me going through these difficulties. Um, Yay, woohoo! Thank you kindly, guys. You're dropping so many hearts and so many suns in the comment section. Please keep doing that. It's wonderful to see that. You have no idea how important your words and your comments and your emojis, your presence in a space is. You have no idea how significant you are. And it saddens me to know how society is poisoning our minds and telling us that we're not significant, that we're not enough. Hi, Sarah. Hi, Continental Pangea. Don't believe these lies. In the next 2 years with Saturn in Aries, it's going to be so important to hold on to this image of who you are, your identity. You know who you are. You know that you're significant. You know you're important. Even in the face of AI copying you, stealing your identity, even in the face of economic hardships, social changes, deaths and loss in the family, you know who you are. You have to know who you are. And you always need to come in and check in with yourself. And to be brave enough to be this person in the world. Because one good thing that is happening as society seems to be collapsing is that we get a lot of freedom. In the midst of chaos, we get a lot of freedom to be ourselves, right? There is that weird moment when old rules are crumbling down and new rules are being created. And there is this weird in between where there is so much creative potential. And that's going to be the next 2 years with Saturn in Aries and Neptune in Aries. Creative potential that is just waiting to be unleashed. And you just have to grab it and do something with it. And each one of us is going to do it in their own unique area of life, you know. Some of us will become parents. They will feel the need to create their own family. Others of us are going to write their first book. Others of us are going to graduate. Others of us are going to start their own business. They're going to be pioneers. It's like, let's invent a service for people that just happened to, you know, this need was created in society. Let's build a service around it. Let's build products around it. Or I don't even know. Maybe we'll slide slowly towards socialism instead of this kind of rampant neo-individualistic capitalism. I am, however, quite hopeful. I definitely feel that the best has yet to come. And I don't think it's a stupid hopefulness. I think it's a hopefulness that comes after years of hardship, years of tests and limitations and drama and yeah. I'm hopeful. I'm definitely hopeful. And I think it's important for us, millennials especially, to be hopeful, because we need to inspire younger generations to be hopeful as well. You know, I'm increasingly feeling that although I don't feel quite old, I'm starting to have this responsibility that, you know, we have to kind of step in and educate a bit more. If Gen Zers and Alpha generation is not being educated by their own family, it's like we can contribute in society to help them out in some way through the work that we do, through just physically being present in society and giving them a bit of awareness, or helping them understand something, or helping them cope with something, or just showing them that they're not alone, that they don't have to struggle and vote for far right governments because they're feeling hopeless. So hope is really important. It's saving us. Thank you, Catherine Machete. Thank you kindly for your encouraging words. I have to say that I'm already starting to feel a bit better. Noku, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Sorry guys, if I get a little bit emotional, you know, just bear with me. Okay, just bear with me. It's fluctuating emotions, right? Hi Leo. Okay, so I'm gonna pull a card right now, of course, from the OG. This was given to me by Araceli. I don't know if Araceli is still in the chat, but yeah, she sent the witches my way, and I'm immensely grateful because, as you guys know, this is part of a collection of 6 decks. Ashley says that much of her therapy work lately is with families that are immigrants. I can understand how difficult that must be. Dealing with displacement, dealing with loss, and having to rebuild your life. But how inspiring are immigrant families to all of us at the moment, because we all have to rebuild something in our life. Pluto in Aquarius is taking something away from us, it's ripping something apart. And the stories of people that were displaced, that immigrated for a better life, they can really inspire us to rebuild in whichever part of our lives we feel the need to start again. And yeah, Saturn in Aries is going to push us to start again someplace. I personally feel like everything is going to start again for me. Home-wise, romantic-wise, family-wise, like all at once, you know. But I'm also incredibly grateful at the same time. It's hard to put into words why I'm feeling so grateful, but I just feel this wave of relief, you know, like being able to breathe again. So the card that is here, look guys, I can't make this up. Magic is real, magic is present. We have the healer, yeah? And we have a grandmaster number. We have number 22. So this is your angel number for today, 22. And we see here, listen as the medicine bleeds through her teeth. A river of mercy blessed by the mother, seen only by those who hold her mirror. A river of mercy. Isn't it wonderful? Don't we need this in the collective more than anything? The medicine that bleeds through her teeth. I think it's important to understand that sometimes, as I mentioned, words are really powerful. Words can be immensely empowering and healing. They can also take us down, but they can also build us back up. And going through therapy and training as well to become a therapist, I am reminded constantly of the power of words. They call therapy the talking cure. And I think that one element that we lost in society, and I hope that this will be the final refinement of the Pluto and Aquarius era, but we will have to see 2 decades from this moment in time, is the capacity for us to have a dialogue, to have difficult, beautiful, rich, meaningful conversations, to not dismiss each other as quickly as we see fit, but to be able to engage in debates, philosophical, psychological debates, to be able to have long, intense midnight conversations, to be able to put our feelings into words in a mature, measured way, to release anger through our words in a mature way, instead of fighting and punching and abusing each other. We lost the art of conversation. And I hope that Pluto in Aquarius is going to heal us, and it's going to help us understand that when we put things into words, reality changes for the better. When we express something, what we think, we have the potential to inspire other people to rebuild their lives, to heal their lives, to start again, to do something different, to think differently about themselves. Your words can free another person. Your experiences, what you're going through, if you share them with somebody else and you get out of the loop of shame and fear and guilt, but if you're brave enough to just put into words what you're going through, you can actually save a person's life, you know? So, the healer, become this healer. We all have this potential inside of us. Yes, a real community, yes. And the community is built through ritual, and it is built through conversations, right? What are we going to do? How are we going to build? What do you think? What about you? How about you, right? So that's why I'm so hopeful, because this summer we're going to feel it very strongly, from July especially. With Uranus in Gemini and Pluto in Aquarius, this is going to be a lot about dialogue. It's also going to be about fast development in terms of flight, aviation, anything that has to do with the sky, with fast communications and modes of transportation. Like maybe jetpacks are going to become really popular, for example, you know. But it's going to be about conversations. This is what Geminis and Aquarius love to do. They like to talk about everything. No subject is taboo, you know. They don't want to put it into action, but they like to talk about it. And they do it with a lot of humor and a lot of zest. And they love to ask questions. And they love to make fun of themselves and of other people. So this energy of levity, right? Going from, I feel completely destroyed, I'm so heavy and weighted down by feelings, to, wow, okay, I'm seeing reality in a completely different view. Like my mindset has shifted, my reality is shifting. I see that I have choices, I have opportunities, I can make decisions, I have control, you know? Yeah. Sorry, I can get a little bit carried away. Let's pull a card from the Healing Spirits. Yeah, there's this beautiful deck over here. I do want to mention that a couple of you have booked readings with me, personal readings. And a couple of you are on the brink of booking with me, but you stopped yourself because of what has happened. I have to let you know, guys, that I'm going to continue working, because working keeps me on the straight path. As I said, I feel happy when I work. I feel like I can emotionally regulate when I work. The absence of work is the one that really makes me feel isolated, and yeah, like I basically don't know what to do with myself. But as I said, due to my astrological placements and my life experience, I find work incredibly nourishing. And when I work for other people, I find answers to problems that plague me. Because when I work, and especially the type of work I do here, supporting you spiritually, I heal myself as well. And the card that we have here is this one. Ask your spirit guide. Okay? So I want you guys to see this image, really focus on it. Whichever spirit guide you have, it can be a god, a goddess, it can be an angel, or it can be an ancestor. It can be an animal spirit. I wanted to tell you a little bit about the magical symbols. So I'm going to hold this card over here so you guys can see it. But I wanted to tell you very briefly about some of the like signs and synchronicities that Spirit has been sending me. When I was looking to rent this place in which I find myself, I was apprehensive. I was like, am I gonna feel okay here? Am I gonna feel relaxed? And I came and I visited this place at nighttime to see if it's gonna be loud and noisy, if people are gonna like super party. And when I walked at nighttime in front of the door to this building, I saw a hedgehog. A hedgehog in Bucharest. It's incredibly rare. And I think it's because there is a big park next to where I live. So I was just completely surprised, you know. And the hedgehog as an animal spirit, it does talk about being defensive, but it is also like once you relax your defenses, you can finally allow that vulnerable, sweet side of yourself to come out, because the hedgehog is very sweet as an animal. It's adorable. And I've also been seeing a good number of white dogs in the neighborhood. And white dogs and white cats are usually a harbinger of the presence of spirit. So that's how I knew I was making the right decision. Yeah. Thank you for sharing your experiences with the hedgehog. They are adorable. And today when I was, so after the sermon and after my father's body was lowered into the crematorium, everybody went their own ways. And I was surprised to see so many friends, especially work friends, come to support my dad. It was really touching to see the community showing up for him. But as we said our goodbyes, I usually need to walk to decompress. I process my feelings through my body very strongly, so I need to walk or have a cup of coffee or eat a specific fruit, you know, to deal with things. And I was walking, and it was in this beautiful like woodland area of Bucharest that I'm recently discovering. You know, like I lived in Bucharest most of my life, and I still discover areas that I haven't been to. I'm still completely shocked and amazed by this city. It's like a maze. And the more I grow, the more my awareness shifts, the more the map of Bucharest continues to kind of change for me. You know, it's fascinating, the links that we have with cities and how they change for us as our awareness grows. Anyway, coming back, I was walking from the crematorium to my place, and I saw, like, unfortunately, I saw this black cat that was dead, but she looked, first of all, she didn't look injured. She was just lying on the grass in a very restful pose, like almost as if she fell asleep frozen. And she was on the grass, she was surrounded by flowers, almost like nature was holding her, you know? And it was sad, but also peaceful at the same time. And I looked to see what was the spiritual symbolism of seeing a dead cat, a dead black cat. And apparently it represents the end of a really negative period of your life, the end of karma or a lot of karmic tests. And I thought it was incredibly fitting. It really was a sign from the universe. That's it, it's a wrap up. Conclusion. Yeah. And Noah is starting to be a little bit he was just behind the camera. He jumped on the basket on which I have my camera resting. Gonna pull one more card. Yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying hanging out with me today. I really am enjoying this. And yeah, I do hope that next time. Yes, my cat is named Noah. He's the youngest in the family. He's 1 year old. I have another cat called Sol. She's 3 years old. uh, no, 2, sorry, 2 years old. And my eldest is Luna, and she's going to turn 5 years old, guys. It's coming up soon on the 26th of May. Yeah, my babies. I remember each time I rescued them, I was worried. I was like, how am I gonna pay the bills? How am I going to, like, what if they get sick? Oh my God, can I actually do it? Do I have a stable enough life to give them a shelter? What if I want to move? What if I want to travel to another country? And then I was like, you know what? F it. I'm gonna do what my heart wants me to do, and I'm gonna figure it out. There will be solutions. And even if I decide that after the elections I'm going to have to switch countries, I'm going to take them with me. There are solutions. We live in a day and an age in which things can get done so quickly. And I'll see. I'll save up and I'll get them all passports and they're coming with me, you know? So don't be afraid to make decisions based on your heart, on what you want to do, that you feel like it's booming here. You know, if you feel that boom, 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 and you're like, I really think I need to do this, you know, or I don't know, confess your feelings to somebody, or you have to do it. You have to do it. You have to stop holding yourself back. And then, yeah, they do give out cat passports at the vet. It's a passport that includes the vaccinations, you know, because you need to have. Yeah, they do. My vet told me this. So, to prepare a pet to leave a country, you need to have a certain number of vaccinations, or you need to have the chip implanted, or I don't know. It's different requirements depending on the country where you want to take the animal. And they put it all in a little book, in a little like booklet, and that's the cat passport. You know, so, and I found out, maybe it's something you guys may benefit from knowing, but in the European Union you can travel with up to 5 pets. Yeah, so the only difficult part, I think it's going to be the quarantine, because certain countries still require cats to be quarantined, cats or dogs to be quarantined for about 2 weeks, I think. So I guess that's going to be difficult, but again, it depends on the country you want to go to. Some countries have stricter regulations rather than others. I know, for example, Australia is very tough on bringing any plant or animal species from the outside of the country, because they have such a unique biodiversity in Australia and they're very good at protecting it, you know. So I'm going to pull a card right now from the Secrets of the Mystic Grove. Laura, thank you. Thank you kindly. Thank you so much for your beautiful comment. So let's see. I think this is going to be the last deck that I'm going to pull a card from. We got Alliance, number 4. Okay, so I see here connections, unity, creative solutions. What was I saying earlier about make connections based on your heart and things are gonna work out somehow? Even if you feel like you don't know how to handle this, you don't know if you have the money, the strength, the resources to do this, you're gonna find solutions. You're gonna figure it out. Yeah. No more fear. No more fear. If there is one thing we need to kill this year, it's fear. It's sickening. Like the amount of fear that exists in the collective, the amount of sadness that is unprocessed and that has been packaged as anger. Like, we have to find a way to blast that, you know? We need to find a way to blast that. No more fear. Yeah. I owe it to my dad over here. So new relationships, new connections, connecting with even higher forms of intelligence like AI, you know, that's going to be the future as well. So get ready to establish connections with technological models as well. Noah, Noah, Pisu, pinda la mama, hi, pinda la mama, hi. My cat Noah is like jumping on the altar. I have an altar over there in my little balcony in my garden. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's over there. But he likes to just jump on stuff and like throw them down with his paw whenever he feels that he's not getting enough attention. Noah, come over here. Yeah. Typical tomcat behavior, you know, he needs a lot of attention. The girls are okay, they're just sleeping. I think you can see that Sol is in the background over there on the chair. Over there. She's just napping. She doesn't care, you know. Yay, woohoo. I'm going to use my angel intelligence instead. Wonderful. Use whatever you need, guys. Use whatever helps you cope. Life is hard enough as it is. Use whatever you can. Your skills, your energy. Make something out of everything that you can. I don't know. And definitely don't limit yourself. Stop telling yourself awful things. Stop scaring yourself. Stop scaring other people. No eyes over there. Let me just move the camera a little bit further. Yeah. Okay. There we go. Ah. There we go. So he came to he joined us finally. Hello everybody. Hello. Here's my little rag doll. Can you believe, guys, that this beautiful specimen was thrown in the cemetery? I found him in a cemetery during one of my lunch breaks from one of my corporate jobs last year. Ah, whoop. He's really active at the moment. This is his active time. But can you please not jump on the altar? Yeah. Is he French with a twisted mustache? Yeah, his mouth looks like he dipped his like boutique. How do you say this? And like muzzle, like he dipped his muzzle in café au lait. He looks like he just had some cappuccino and he forgot to wipe his mouth. He's really sweet. Yeah, he's a ragdoll, and I think that's his species, ragdoll, or like Norwegian forest cat, because of his paws, very fluffy. And I think his owner died. And sometimes what they do here in Romania is like when a person dies, like they put the pet next to the owner. And if this person was buried in that specific cemetery, that's how he ended up hanging out with all the other cats that were abandoned. It was scary, the number of pure breed cats that were in that cemetery. And it was a very difficult decision to choose one. I basically chose Noah because he wouldn't fight other cats for food, and he wouldn't accept food. So I was really worried when I saw him. I was like, he's gonna die. He's gonna die. He's so lethargic. He doesn't fight for his meal. He doesn't eat the type of things I was putting in front of him. And after I rescued him, the vet told me that he had a stomach flu. That's why. So yeah, he would have died. While all the other cats were a bit more active. They would fight, they would come really quickly and eat, you know. So I saw it in them that they had the survival instinct, but he was sick. And yeah, I don't know. And when I took him home and I washed him, I couldn't believe how beautiful he was. You know, I was so shocked because you wouldn't tell. Like, he was so dirty, You wouldn't tell what a beautiful cat he was. And then when I watched him, I was like, oh my God, you're a looker. Yeah. Guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me. It really helped me feel less lonely. Um, you always make me feel supported and like I can be myself. I hope that this is the same energy that I'm able to give back to you. Please keep sending work my way because, as I said, it keeps me balanced. Work really keeps me balanced. For the people whose personal readings I have not yet attended to, they will be delivered to you later on this evening or tomorrow. Now that I feel like my father is resting in peace, I can also rest and tend to what I love to do. And I love to read tarot, I love astrology, I love to help you guys. It's as easy as that. So do what you love until you can't do it anymore. Yeah, it's gonna be weird getting accustomed with not being able to call dad anymore, you know. Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Miriam, so much. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Anaka. I promise you that next time, for the next full moon live, I will be pulling some cards for you guys, okay? Just give me a period of time to adjust and we're gonna get the ball rolling again, as soon as I can. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to taking better care of myself as well now. And I welcome these changes, yeah. Thank you guys. May you be gentle with yourself as well. Take really good care. And thank you, Catherine. Stay blessed, okay? Try to see the silver lining in any challenge because Buddhist Zen masters knew that every situation has a good side and a bad side, right? You lose a family member, but at the same time, they are free. They no longer have to suffer, right? So have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Have a safe full moon in Scorpio. Keep commenting, keep writing to me, keep sending me whatever it is that you want me to look into, and I'll be happy to help you. And thank you kindly. I want you to know just how important you are and how important your support is. You really matter. You really are powerful, guys, each in your own little way. Thank you, Araceli. Thank you, Dazzling Priestess. Thank you, Gabriela. I love you. Take care. I'll see you next time, okay? Bye, guys.